Hey, what's up you guys? So today is Tuesday, which is my shot day, and I thought I need to make a new video anyway, why not just record it? So I know a lot of you guys have either just started testosterone or you want to start taking testosterone and you're wondering, well, what do I do if I just live by myself? How do I give myself the shot? What all do I need? So today I'm gonna go over that with you guys, just how I typically do this. So I'm sitting on my couch right now, which is normally where I sit to give myself my shot. You always want to have your knee at kind of like a 90-degree angle, which I'll show you in a second. And you just want to make sure that the muscle is very relaxed. Now I give myself my shot in my thigh because I find that it's a lot easier to get like the torque to actually inject if it's a muscle that's sitting right in front of me anyway. It just feels a lot more natural. It's easier for me to do personally. But I have seen guys give it to themselves in like the lower back area, so it's really whatever works for you. I've even seen some guys do it in their stomach, but I would go with whatever your doctor recommends you to do. That is what I would do. Here are the things that you are going to need just right off the bat. So if you haven't started T and you're like, what are some things that I could be buying now to prepare myself for that? I'm gonna give you some tips. So the first thing that you'll need is your testosterone. Inside that package, you will see a little vial like this. Now mine is actually 200 milligrams or milliliters, and this is I do the intramuscular injections. I don't know how well that's showing up there, but yeah, there's only like, there's a good bit in there. The vial is like probably halfway full. So yeah, you will also need alcohol prep pads. They're super important. Just buy a ton of them. Just buy them in bulk because you will need these every time you give yourself a shot. And this sterilizes the area. You will also need a band-aid, and the reason is once you give yourself any sort of shot, you always want to put a band-aid on it to just prevent infection. The final thing that you need is something to not only draw up the testosterone with, but also to inject with. So I use a 25 gauge needle to inject with, but then to draw it up with, ideally I would have an 18 gauge needle or something a lot like bigger so it's hollow and it sucks up the liquid a lot easier. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to have your little vial here. It normally has some sort of a cap on it, so you're going to want to take this off, and it's really easy. You just snap it right off. There's a little like gray little tip on it, and this is where you put the needle in to actually draw up the liquid. So I'm gonna open my needle now. So I've got two syringes here. I'm actually just gonna draw it up with this one and then take the needle off of it and put this one on when I actually inject myself, because you never want to use the same needle that you used to inject with as you used to draw it up with, because then it's going to dull the needle. It's going to be a lot harder to break the skin. It's just going to be a lot more painful. So we've got this and we've got this here, and now I'm just going to go ahead and draw this up. So it's probably going to take a second, but I'll try to get it on camera. I always take off the cap like this. Like I'll hold it like this, and I'll take 2 fingers here and 2 fingers here, and I'll kind of like push off just to make sure that I don't get, and the needle's not even very big either. This is only an inch long needle. But I always want to make sure that I don't actually touch the needle at all with my hands. Even though I just wash my hands, I always want to make sure that I don't actually touch this needle. Then I'm going to take the bottle here and just inject it right in. So you tip the bottle upside down. The whole vial, you just want to tip it upside down. And then from here, you kind of just push. So I like to push with my thumb and keep my thumb here, and you'll be able to start to see the testosterone actually go inside it, and I'll try to get that on camera. You can see with the 25 gauge needle just how slowly it's actually going. It's super slow, so I'm telling you, just learn from my mistakes and bulk buy like some 18 gauge needles. If you get bubbles in there, don't freak out either, because at the end I'll show you how to actually get those out. It just takes some time. So now, as you can see, the vial is empty, the syringe is filled, so we're just going to ease up right back here, and it will slowly slide back. You might see a little bit coming out of the top of the syringe, but that's totally fine and normal. You just want to make sure that you get all the air out you can. Now I always like to position it upright when it gets near the top, because as you can see, it likes to have little air bubbles sometimes, which is pretty annoying. And so there's like 1 or 2 little air bubbles still left, but I'm gonna leave it because a lot of the times whenever I switch the syringe, the air will actually come right on out. So take this off, and you want to put the cap back on so that it snaps on. That's important. Okay, and then you're going to twist this off, and we're going to switch this needle with this needle because we haven't used this needle. It's fresh, it's not dull. This specific kind of syringe, you can see that there's kind of like treading right there, so you just take it. I normally brace it with this part because it's easy to grab onto, and then with my other fingers right there, just twist right off. So yeah, and it looks like that about got rid of that bubble that was there, which is always good. So that one's off, and then we're just going to twist this one on, and you can see it just turns right on. Now I always kind of twist a little bit tightly just to make sure that the needle is securely on. So got the tea in the syringe, and now it is ready to go. This is like kind of like the center of my thigh. I normally like to inject right around this area. So the first thing that I'm going to do before I do anything else, I found that just massaging this area like with 2 thumbs, you just really want to make sure that that muscle is as loose as it can possibly be. So then you're going to want to take your alcohol pad, and you're going to just tear it open. Should come with like a tiny little baby wipe like this. So you kind of want to make sure that you get the entire area, and you just want to kind of like use a finger to rub around, make sure that the entire area, like basically your whole top of your thigh, is really cleaned. While that's drying, I like to take the band-aid that we have to have afterwards, and I go ahead and open it up so that it's ready to put on right after, because another thing that happens is once you inject yourself, you will forget that area because, 90% of the time it's not going to bleed. Sometimes it does. That doesn't mean you need to freak out, but it just does sometimes. And so I like to already have it ready to put right on right after. And I'm going to leave that on the table right beside it. So then as soon as I inject, I can just take that band-aid and put it on. So you want to make sure that you kind of grab it like this so that you have a good grip, and then you can go straight in. So now that it's in, you're just going to want to make sure that you get it all out. With this, I like to go a little bit slow. Just slow and pretty steady, just so that I have time to fully absorb it. But I bled a little bit on that one, which it normally doesn't happen, but I probably just hit a little blood vessel or something. But that is how you inject testosterone. So leave a like if you liked it, leave some comments if you have any, let me know if this was helpful, and I'll be happy to make more videos in the future. Till then, have a good one.